What's going on, everybody? I'm going to let a few people join. My YouTube right now is acting up a little bit, so it won't have any music. So we'll get started here in just a second, okay, guys? How y'all doing tonight? Hey, if you're new to the show, guys, let me know what you guys want to talk about tonight. Comment when you get in the live video, and we'll go from there. We got MLB baseball return, latest with NASCAR. Also, Avery Bradley from the Lakers will be gone. Will not be playing in the postseason when the NBA returns to the bubble. And also the Jamal Adams latest and his trade demands, guys. So, going to let a few people join. We got 3 or 4 on there right now. What up, Monty? All right. Let me know if y'all are watching, guys. Let me know. Let me know what y'all want to talk about. Comment, like, share this. If you haven't liked my Kicking It with Crowder page as well, go find that on Facebook and give that a like as well, guys. So we're going to get into that here in just a second, Monty. But, man, I really like that they were able to come in and set up a 60-game schedule. A lot of things to watch for, but I'll get into that in just a second. All right, Monty? All right, guys. So I'm going to get this started here in just a few seconds. All right, guys? In 3, 2, 1. And welcome, everybody, to Kicking It with Crowder, episode 42. Thank you for joining tonight. Major League Baseball is back, guys, and that means Braves baseball is back. Chop House is back. Truist Park, yes, they changed the name from SunTrust to Truist Park. Really excited to maybe be going to some games possibly later in the season, guys. Could not be any more excited. We will dive into all the details and the biggest storylines to watch for with the shortened 60-game season. So, guys, 60-game seasons. Also, the NL will have a DH, and there will also be an extra inning rule we'll get into a little bit later. So, we'll dive into all those storylines here in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Also, I will give you the latest with the NASCAR findings of the noose that was found in Bubba Wallace's garage at Talladega. The FBI and NASCAR did a swift investigation. Those results will come in here in a little bit. And also, the NBA return is getting closer and closer. With this week, NBA players were supposed to give their teams an answer if they would be returning to the bubble or not. And one big name who is not going to be playing for his team, and a team that had very, very high expectations coming into this season, and also have very high expectations going into the postseason. That is the Los Angeles Lakers, and Avery Bradley will not be playing, guys. He is going to cite family reasons. He has a 6-year-old with an autoimmune disease or something like that, and he is very susceptible to the virus and getting sick and things like that. So Avery Bradley will not play for the Los Angeles Lakers. And what does this mean for the Lakers' title chances? What's up, Jason? All right, so Avery Bradley is a no-go. Also, I will get into some other players who will be sitting out with the return of the NBA. Okay, so who will they sign? That's another question. Who will they sign? The Los Angeles Lakers. They've been rumored with guys like J.R. Smith, Isaiah Thomas, also DeMarcus Cousins. I'll give you the latest on that later on. And lastly, Jason, what's up, man? This is exactly for you, man. Your New York Jets right here. Who will the Jamal Adams be traded to this season, if he's traded at all? I want to know your answers down below. He has requested a trade from the New York Jets. I'll give you the latest 7 to 8 teams that you could possibly see him go to, and which team makes the most sense. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. All these topics and more tonight on Kicking It with Crowder. If you haven't already, guys, please do not forget to like and share this post down below so more people can see it. Also, if you haven't liked my Kicking It with Crowder page. We have 880 followers on there, 827 likes. Want to get those numbers up to around 1,000 before football season starts. So got a lot of good stuff come football time. And I just want to say thank you guys to anyone who's joined, liked, shared, done anything this entire season. 42 episodes so far. So we'll start season 2, right around football season, guys. So this is season 1 of Kicking It with Crowder. And you can also find me on Spotify. I'm on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app. And I'm also on YouTube at Kicking It with Crowder. Don't forget to like and subscribe to that. And also Twitter, guys. Got a lot of good stuff. Got a lot of good content coming out there daily at Kick It with Crow. So, with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about tonight. So, the MLB return is probably the most important topic of discussion today, far from, some of the other things that are going on in the world and the sports world as well. So, Major League Baseball is back. 60 games will be played. They agreed to 60 games, which, hey, it's better than 50. So I'm glad Rob Mansford, the MLBPA, Tony Clark, all these guys were able to get together and just say, hey, man, we got to play. We have to play baseball this season. We cannot have a situation like 1994. So they will start either July 23rd or July 24th. Will be opening day around Major League Baseball. Schedules have not been released, but basically, spring training will start July 1st, and it will be a 10-team playoff field. So basically, you'll have the 3 division winners and the 2 NL, the 2 wild card teams from the NL and the AL. And what's up, Glenn? Go Orioles! Hey, even your Orioles got a chance right now with the 60-game schedule. So we'll get into a little bit more about that and what it means for teams going on later in the show, Glenn. Thank you for joining again. As always, Glenn, I really appreciate it, man. So the teams are going to play 40 divisional games, and then you're going to see teams like the NL East square off with the AL East. You're going to see teams like the NL Central square off with the AL Central, and then you're also going to see West versus West. So you're going to see the Yankees play the Braves. You're going to see Yankees play Braves, Marlins, Nationals, all these teams in the 20 games they play besides the division series. So these division games are very, very important. It may not be, you want to get off to a hot start in many seasons. This year, you definitely want to get off to a hot start in Major League Baseball. Only 60 games, so you're going to see some teams sneak into the playoffs this year. I'll give you some teams to watch out for a little bit later. But 20 games versus, you're going to have to play the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Rays. I mean, that's a tough division for the Braves, so they kind of got screwed on that one a little bit, having to play a tough AL East division. But you're going to see a full-time DH in the NL, so there will be no pitcher hitting the entire season in the NL. You'll have, and this helps a team like the Atlanta Braves, who have guys like Austin Riley and Adam Duvall and Camargo, guys who are in platoon situations who are going to be able to get extra at-bats. So you're going to see a lot of teams. I think the number will go up from 25 probably to about 28 players on the roster just because of injuries. And you want to have a lot of these guys fresh come postseason because you're going to be playing 60 games, I think, in 65 days or something like that. So it's going to be a very, very exciting 2 months. I cannot wait for it. So Major League Baseball, if you're just joining, guys, has been, it will be July 23rd or July 24th will be opening day in July 2020. So another interesting rule change is the innings, extra innings will start with a man on second base. Do you like that proposal, trying to keep these games shorter, trying to keep a lot of these pitchers and players fresh? If you start with a guy on second, it's a lot easier to score runs. So kind of little leaguish right there, if you ask me. But I understand the philosophy behind it. So extra innings will start with a runner on second base for both teams. Also, social distancing will be applied. And if a player tests positive, which is going to happen, guys, players are going to test positive for this virus in probably every sport. You got players such as Nikola Jokic, and also, what's his name? Malcolm Brogdon from the Indiana Pacers. Both these players tested positive this week for coronavirus. They are in quarantine, and when the NBA returns, they will be supposedly fully ready to go. But we'll see what happens with that. So players in the Major League Baseball are going to test positive. If you do test positive, you will have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, and then you will have to pass 2 additional tests to be able to come back and play with your team. So that is very, very important. What does this mean for guys? What does this mean for teams who, aren't very deep? You got to have, in Major League Baseball, you got to have now 5 to 7 guys on the bench who are ready to play and come off the bench if need be. Also, NFL, you're going to have, if a quarterback tests positive for coronavirus, it's most likely that the quarterbacks that have been working with him and been in the quarterback room will also test positive for coronavirus. So this year, more than ever, teams are going to have backups ready. Reserves are going to have to play a big, big role going into the postseason in such as Major League Baseball and NBA. Who are the top 5 teams that we should watch out for with this restart, guys? So I'm going to give you my top 5 teams to watch and what their World Series odds are going into the 2020 season. So the best bet right now to win the World Series is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They added Mookie Betts. They also have NL MVP Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner. They also have a handful of pitchers, Clayton Kershaw. The list goes on with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Walker Buehler. They have Kenley Jansen as closer. They have a lot of talent. So the Los Angeles Dodgers and Dave Roberts, they're absolutely loaded heading into this 2020 restart, and they are very happy to play because if you remember, they did trade. They got a trade with Mookie Betts. They got Mookie Betts from the Boston Red Sox, and if they wouldn't have played this year, Mookie Betts still would have been able to move on as a free agent, and Dodgers basically would have gotten nothing in return for Mookie. So the Los Angeles Dodgers have to be a favorite, and as well, you're going to hate to hear this, Jason, right here, but man, the New York Yankees, they added Garrett Cole. They have a very, very deep lineup. A lot of young guys who they brought in their farm system. It's not a bunch of guys who they've signed hitters-wise. They've actually had a lot of these guys in the system for a while, and the New York Yankees, led by Garrett Cole, they're going to be a team to watch out for come the 2020 postseason if they can make it. I don't like the Yankees very much, but I'm just saying their team is loaded, and Boone has those guys. He's going to have these guys ready to play. I really do think the Yankees are going to be dangerous. Would not be shocked if you saw a Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Yankees World Series, guys. So betting odds on these guys in New York, in Vegas, I know a lot of betting hasn't been going on. So if you want to bet, the Los Angeles Dodgers are plus 325, and so are the New York Yankees. They're both plus 325. So if you bet a $100 bet, you will win $325, guys. So those two teams, I really like their odds to win the title, but I'm going to go with some teams a little bit lower. Also, you got the Houston Astros, and I know a lot of people want to talk about the sign stealing scandal, but at the end of the day, they have Altuve, they got Alex Bregman, they still have Justin Verlander. They have a lot of guys on that roster who have been in the trenches and competed and won a World Series. I believe they added Zach Greinke last year as well. I'm not sure who he signed with or if he's back with the Astros, but the Astros have a hell of a team, and they are plus 750 to win the World Series come this fall. So far, guys, I got the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros, my top 3 teams. They really are right there. Even though they got caught with the scandal and they lost Garrett Cole, this team went 7 games in the World Series last year. So I do not expect the Astros to fall off very much, even if they're not stealing signs next year. And the number 4 overall team. So this is my second NL team, and this is my team, the Atlanta Braves, a team who had it all last year. Really. Had it all besides a closer. They just could not close games. Blew game 1 in the division series. Also blew another game 4, I believe. Ended up getting curb stomped in game 5 against the St. Louis Cardinals. But the Atlanta Braves have a great squad led by Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies. Also Freddie Freeman. Those 3 at the top of the lineup are dangerous hitters. And you'll have pitchers. You got Soroka. We also signed a Cole Hamels. You got a Max Fried. Can the Braves get it done this year? If the Braves were to win the World Series, they'd be plus 1,500. So if you bet $100 right now on the Atlanta Braves, you're going to be winning $1,500 on a $100 bet with the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, I think this helps them, honestly, with the 60 games. They normally start pretty strong. Last year, through 60 games, they were 34. They were 34 and 24 or 26, something like that. They were right there with the Phillies. The Phillies were in the lead, and I really do like the odds of the Atlanta Braves. Freddie Freeman, Acuna Jr., and here's another thing. I think Acuna Jr. is going to go off. I could see possibly 18 to 20 home runs from him this season, and he's going to lead off. And when he does lead off, he is very, very dangerous. He's a cog in that machine with the Atlanta Braves, and watch out for them. I'm telling you, the Atlanta Braves, I hope they make a postseason run, but not only I hope they win the World Series this year. We'll see what happens. And then coming off Game 7 win last year against the Houston Astros, the Washington Nationals are my 5th favorite team to win the World Series. Plus 1,800 odds to win the World Series with the Washington Nationals. So not only do the Braves have great odds, the Washington Nationals, who last time I checked, they still had Steven Strasburg and they still had Max Scherzer. I'm sorry. So they still got both of those guys at the top of the lineup. Also have Juan Soto, Zimmerman. Just a scrappy little team there in Washington. So either one of those, if I had to bet on one of these 5 teams, I'm probably going to bet with the Braves or the Washington Nationals. You bet $100, you win $1,800 with the Nats, $1,500 with the Braves. So those are my 5 teams to watch out for. And Rob Sanders down below is saying, Nationals have 2 aces, and when you go into these 5-game series, if you're able to pitch Strasburg twice, Scherzer twice, they got Patrick Corbin as their number 3. I mean, that's a dangerous team, and also a team that did not really start hot last year. The Nationals would have missed the playoffs last year if it would have been just 60 games. They got hot at the end and ended up winning the World Series. So a lot to look out for this year with the MLB restart, but you have to look out for people getting infected with the coronavirus. Will it affect the league, and will the MLB finish the season? I don't think that's a guarantee right now with what's going on with these coronavirus. I think I read last night that Florida had like 5,500 new cases in one day. So, I mean, this thing hasn't really slowed down. It did slow down for a little bit, but now it's kind of spiking back up. You got to bring riots into that. You also have to bring into the equation and just people on vacation and people not social distancing, people not wearing masks when they go out. So it's not a guarantee that Major League Baseball will finish their season, but guys, I certainly hope so. And right now there hasn't been a ruling of if there will be fans in the stands come game time. I'm hoping that maybe we can get at least 10,000 people in for a Braves game this year. And if there is, I will be going to a few games. I will wear my mask if you have to wear a mask. I will social distance, but I'll be chopping on, and I cannot wait for some Atlanta Braves baseball this year. Thank you, Rob Manfred. Thank you, MLBPA, and I'm very, very excited, very, very excited that they're going to have a 2020 season. So, 3 things to follow as baseball returns. I know I'm talking a lot of baseball, but we haven't had much to talk about baseball-wise, but now we do with the return. And my number 1 thing to watch out for and to kind of follow as baseball returns is the injuries. What's up, Sean? What's up, Mom? Rob, we got a bunch of people talking. Glenn, Jason. Hey, guys, thank y'all for all the comments. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like this down below, and also kick it on my page, Kicking It with Crowder. Don't forget to like that as well. So 3 things to follow as baseball returns. Injuries, guys. The soft tissue injuries. You're kind of going to have some elbow injuries, some shoulder injuries. Injuries, they will happen. I just want everyone to know that it's going to be almost impossible for Major League Baseball to get out of this with some star players not injured. But you're going to see some pitchers go down with some shoulders, some elbows. You're also going to see some infielders, some outfielders banged up a little bit more. I mean, you're going 60 games in 65 days. It's going to be a lot going on, and injuries are going to happen. You're going to have a shorter spring training. So, guys can't if you haven't been in shape, guys, you don't have very long to get in shape. So injuries, they will happen. Another thing to watch out for, hot starts. I mentioned it earlier. It is almost pivotal to get off to a hot start. I know the Braves a few years ago, we missed the playoffs, but we started out, I think, 10-0. I think like 2013, maybe 14, we started out 10-0. That would be great for the Atlanta Braves or any team that you root for to start off hot, 8-2, 10-1, 12-2, something like that. And then the last thing is, will the 2020 World Series winner be tainted, or will they have like an asterisk? If your team doesn't win, you're basically going to say, well, it's just shortened season. This year doesn't really count. To hell with the Nationals if they were to repeat. They didn't really repeat. But if you win, you're definitely not going to use that excuse, and you're going to. If the Braves win the 2020 World Series, you're not really going to hear any complaints that it was only a 60-game season, because in 1994, the Braves were actually out of playoff contention at the moment when they shut down, and the Expos were in first place. So the Expos ended up not being able to finish the season. The Braves streak kept on with the division titles. We won 14 in a row. So will the 2020 World Series winner be tainted? It all depends on who wins it, guys. Let's be honest with that. So injuries, hot start is very, very is a must right now, and then the 2020 World Series will be kind of tainted no matter what, guys. So, hey, that's my baseball topic so far. And tell me, who do you guys think is the favorite to win the 2020 World Series? Is it the Houston Astros? Is it the Los Angeles Dodgers, Yankees, Braves, or the repeating champions, the Washington Nationals? Let me know down below, guys. All right, so let me get a little bit of water real quick. Give me a second. All right, guys. So, latest right now, we're going to talk a little bit about NASCAR, guys, and a sport that has really done a lot in the last few weeks with the social injustice. I really feel like they were right to kind of ban the Confederate flag. That flag, that's a long, long time ago, and with times of changing, I really think that they did the right move banning the flag. And also, you have a black driver named Bubba Wallace who came out. He drives the 43 car, guys. He came out and said that they should ban the flag within 2 days. They did it. So NASCAR is totally behind Bubba Wallace. They have banned the flag. Although people have still kind of flown the flag at Talladega this past week. They had like a blimp. Also, there was a camper with one. But they're doing what they can. And the sad news that came out of Talladega this weekend is that a noose was found in Bubba Wallace's garage, and NASCAR acted fast. They didn't. It was kind of found by a crew member who then told NASCAR, and then NASCAR found it, and they kind of did an internal investigation, and then the FBI came in. The FBI said it was not a hate crime. The noose had been there since like October 2019, so it wasn't specifically left there for Bubba Wallace. But at the end of the day, guys, I think NASCAR did the right thing by taking this full steam ahead. They did not know that that noose or that rope had been there that long. So I definitely commend NASCAR for what they did in this situation and having Bubba Wallace's back no matter what. The scene they had at Talladega on Monday when all the drivers and all the crew members kind of pushed Bubba Wallace's car to the end of pit road, man, that was really touching, and it was nice to see that Bubba Wallace has a lot of support within NASCAR, and I really hope Bubba Wallace gets his first NASCAR win this year. He's won in some other circuits, has not won a race, does have a top 2 finish at Daytona, so the guy can drive. He's not just a gimmick. He's finished like 28th in points the last 2 years, so he definitely wants to see that go higher this year in 2020. But Bubba Wallace, you can't, the media and everything, they had to kind of report this article. I'm not mad at them for not getting all the facts straight. If you got this article put on if you found out about this article and you did not report it with what's going on right now in the world, you may not have a job. So I understand the frustration that some people may have because it ended up being it wasn't a hate crime or anything like that. But I just want to know, why was the rope tied like that in the garage anyways? I mean, that's my first question, but that's besides the point, guys. I'm just glad Bubba Wallace wasn't a target of racism, and I'm glad they banned the flag, and I'm glad there also was not a noose found in his garage, supposedly. So that's the latest with NASCAR, guys. Yeah, and but see, I'm not sure. I haven't read into a lot of it. I know some. Bubba Wallace said his garages way back home don't have that, but I'm not sure how it goes. I'm just glad that it wasn't a very, very serious situation like many thought. It did sound a little weird when I first heard about it, and I'm glad that it came out to be false. So, Bubba Wallace, my hat's off to you, and I really, really hope that you can get your first win this year. And you've done a lot for the sport of NASCAR in the past 2 weeks, man, and I commend you for that. So, Bubba Wallace, thank you. All right, guys. So players. So we're going to move on to basketball a little bit. And basketball right now is going to be back July 30th, I think, or July 28th, somewhere around there. They're going to return to Orlando in the bubble. And what they have to do is this week, players had to let their teams know if they were going to be on board for the return or if they were off, if they're not going to return. So the biggest news so far today, Avery Bradley, who is basically the sixth man for the Lakers. He's their point guard, a guy who had played for the Boston Celtics for a lot of years, plays really good defense, can hit a couple threes here and there, can give you about 8 to 10 points off the bench in a pivotal playoff series, also plays some great defense against a 1 or a 2 guard. Avery Bradley, who averages 24 minutes a game for the Los Angeles Lakers, started 43 games for them this year. He will sit out the return because of his son. His 6-year-old son has a respiratory. He has respiratory issues, and they're very scared for him to get the coronavirus. So Avery Bradley also has 2 other kids he's worried about, but he will sit out the NBA return, and that is huge news coming out of Los Angeles because Avery Bradley's a really big piece in that Lakers quest to win a championship. And what he does, he's basically the sixth man. He starts, he can come off the bench. He's going to play good defense. He'll give you 24 minutes a game. That's basically playing half the game. All right, so. All right, Glenn. So Glenn wants to know, what is the bubble you keep mentioning about NBA? So the bubble is basically they're going to return in like a bubble format, Glenn. They're going to play at Disney World, and they're going to have these couple courts, and you're basically not going to be able to leave the bubble. Once you get in the bubble, you're not going to be able to leave the bubble until you lose. Family members aren't allowed in until the second round. They're trying to control the virus in the NBA, so they're playing restricted. I think they have like 8 courts or so, a couple hotels that are connected, and players will not be leaving outside of that range. That's what I mean when I keep saying the bubble, Glenn. So other players who will not return: Trevor Ariza, who is dealing with a custody battle for his son. He's going to have a 1-month visitation with his son right now, so he's going to sit out the return. Also, you have Botans from Washington, who's a 3-point shooter, was in the 3-point competition. He is going to be Bertans. I'm sorry, he's going to be sitting out for the Washington Wizards. I almost said Bullets. He'll be sitting out. Basically, he has 2 ACL injuries, and he does not want to get hurt while he returned for the bubble for a team who's probably not going to win the NBA championship, maybe not even win a playoff series. So he doesn't want to risk injury and lose out on that payday. He'll lose out $500,000 by not coming back, but he'll probably make that back quickly at the beginning of the summer. And then you have a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, who was cut by the Lakers, had that ACL injury last year, almost a year removed from that injury. He was thinking about coming back, but he will also sit out and prepare for 2021. Also, a guy, Victor Oladipo, who's coming off a nasty leg injury last year. He's uncertain if he will return. That answer has not been given yet. And then also Kevin Durant, who suffered his Achilles injury a little bit over a year ago. He will not return for the Brooklyn Nets. And then also you've had players like Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard say they may not return as well. But as far as I'm concerned, those players will return. So the big news today was Lakers Avery Bradley, and sixth man. I mentioned 24 points a game. What does this mean for the Los Angeles Lakers title chances? And it's definitely got to put a dent in them a little bit, because I think the Los Angeles Lakers are kind of the team favorite out of the West, with the Los Angeles Clippers, and then a team like Houston, who has James Harden, Russell Westbrook. They both shoot the ball 22 times a game. They're definitely MVPs in this league, and they could possibly get Houston over the top in a shortened kind of playoff system. And I would not be shocked if Houston made it to the Western Conference Finals, upsetting either the Lakers or the Clippers along the way. But Avery Bradley, a guy who plays good defense, he's a 3-and-D guy. He can shoot the three a little bit, play some defense, get you some hard-earned minutes, get you some points there. And I definitely think it hurts the Lakers' chances. And it just sucks for guys. For a guy like Avery Bradley who worked so hard, and the Lakers to get there, and then you have this kind of personal decision going on with his son, and I think he made the right decision. I mean, it's his family, it's his son, and he's choosing his family and his son and his life over the Lakers, and you cannot fault him for that. But Avery Bradley, a huge loss for the Los Angeles Lakers heading into the season. If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say 60-40 right now. I'm leaning Los Angeles Lakers, but things may change once I can see the teams and see the players upon their return. So Clippers right now, I got them a 40% chance to come out. I'll say 30% chance. I'll say 10% Houston, and then 60% Lakers. So that's my odds right now to come out of the West. And then the East, I think Giannis has to be favored right now coming out of the East. But what if a player like Giannis gets hurt, or he tests positive for coronavirus and has to miss 2 weeks and misses like the Eastern Conference semifinals, and they get upset by maybe a Philadelphia team or something like that? Will this year have an asterisk for the player or the team who wins it? A player who wins an MVP in the finals, will it have an asterisk by it? Will a team who wins the 2020 NBA Finals, if LeBron wins his 4th ring, will people always, kind of downgrade it? My guess is yes, because that's just what people do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there, guys. So Los Angeles Lakers, Avery Bradley will not return come the bubble time, as Glenn was asking about earlier. So my last topic, guys, is Jamal Adams, star safety from the New York Jets. Played 3 seasons for the Jets, was an All-Pro last year for the New York Jets. Had a pick-6 return, also a fumble return for a touchdown. Had 6.5 sacks coming from the safety position, which is very rare. A guy who can come up at the line of scrimmage, kind of like an outside linebacker guy who can cover. That's basically what he is. He's around the box a lot. He can drop back in coverage, make the interceptions, make the plays, cover these big tight ends like Gronk and Kittle and all these other big tight ends, Ertz and things like that. So he can cover these kind of guys. And, he had a hell of a season. He was the best strong safety in the entire league last year. Wants a huge deal from the New York Jets, and he has 2 years left on his deal, and New York's just not really willing to give him the money right now. And Jamal Adams is going to look at probably $50 to $60 million on the open market when he does hit free agency. He's due $7 million next year, and then I think he's due $9 million the next year. So $16 million due on his contract. Very, very doable for teams, but if Jamal Adams does get traded, he's going to want to be extended right away. He doesn't want to wait. He thinks he's put the time in. He thinks he's a good enough player to get paid now. So there are 7 teams right now on his wish list, and I'm going to look those up real quick. I had them up. To start with right now, I know Baltimore is on there. Also, Tampa Bay has been added to that list. The Cowboys, the 49ers, the Seahawks, teams who are very, very good. He doesn't want to go to a team that's kind of rebuilding or not there yet. A lot of teams, like I'm an Atlanta fan, a lot of fans have kind of put Jamal Adams and the Falcons together, but I don't think that's the right fit with what we have going on. We have 3 good little safeties right now with Kazi, also Neal and Ricardo Allen. So you got those 3 guys with the team. And then the money you're going to have to give Jamal Adams, you could use to kind of build this roster right now with the Atlanta Falcons. So I don't think they're a good fit. Honestly, and I think he had the Eagles on there as well. I mean, he had a bunch of good teams on there. I think the two best landing spots are both in the NFC. One, starting with the San Francisco 49ers and what they can be able to give up. They could possibly trade a Solomon Thomas, who hasn't really been a great player for them. They drafted him at number 3 overall 3 years ago in the same draft as Jamal Adams. They could possibly use him, another safety, probably Jakari Tart, and then they could possibly flip a first rounder to the New York Jets in exchange for Jamal Adams. I think that if you're New York on that, you really have to pay attention to that trade. You're getting 2 quality defenders, and then you're also gaining a first-round pick, and you don't have to pay Adams in the future. And then you can pick up the 5th-year option on Solomon Thomas, get him for 2 years as well. And I read that on Sports Illustrated today before the show started. So I really think Jamal Adams has a great chance to get traded to the 49ers. But the team he really wants to go to, and you know, this was a video going around on Twitter, and Jamal Adams was quoted saying he's trying to get to Dallas. And this is not the first safety who's come out in the last couple of years. Earl Thomas, remember, came up to Jason Garrett a few years ago and said, hey, man, I want to play for Dallas. I want to come to America's team. And Jamal Adams will be a great fit and a great addition after losing a Byron Jones-type player in that secondary. I think that the Dallas Cowboys, you know, they have a great top 5 offensive line, probably a top 5 offense in the league with Ezekiel Elliott. And then now they add a CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, and you know they have all these weapons. What are they going to do? I think Jamal Adams will be a great fit in that system. But will Jamal Adams be traded? I'm not sure if I would trade him if I were New York. Right now, you know, this isn't the first time he's kind of flirted around with being asked to be traded, but this is the first time he's publicly came out and kind of demanded for a trade. I saw him also on Twitter and Instagram writing on some New York Jets accounts saying, hey, you know, it's been a fun ride, but, you know, please trade me. So maybe it is serious. If you could get possibly 2 first-round picks for him, or maybe like a first and a second and a starter on your team, that may do the trick. And but you're going to have to extend Jamal Adams and pay him, and he is a great player. Besides, you know, Tyrann Mathieu and, you know, some other guys, Derwin James, I mean, I think Jamal Adams may be one of the best safeties in the entire league. Watched him at LSU, watched him in the SEC, and he's a heck of a player. And rumor is, you know, he doesn't really get along with Adam Gase, and he doesn't like the culture. He wants to win. The guy wants to win, and he wants to win right now. And you could look for any of those teams that I mentioned earlier, okay? The Baltimore Ravens, the 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You could see any of these teams try to reach out for Jamal Adams, but they're definitely not going to make a trade until they know football season is coming back. I definitely don't think that will happen until the season is announced, guys. So another question I had last week, guys, will NFL and college start on time? Let me know down below if you think it will. Really not sure on how it will end, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, guys, thank y'all so much for joining tonight. We did talk a lot of MLB tonight. We talked a little NASCAR. We talked Avery Bradley and the Lakers' chances to win the title now that he's not returning. And, guys, we also talked the Jamal Adams trade. Anything else you guys may want to talk about, comment down below. I'll get to you guys later. And don't forget to follow my page, Kicking It with Crowder. And, guys, please like, comment, and share down below so more people can see this. Last week's show got 1,400 views on Facebook, guys, so thank y'all so much. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't share it, hey, if you watch it for just a few seconds, that's okay too, guys. So, hey, thank y'all so much. Catch me on YouTube, Kicking It with Crowder. I have a lot of content coming there, and also at Twitter, at Kick It with Crow, guys. So, hey, baseball is almost back. Yeah, baseball is almost back, and then we got NBA almost back. Parker, man, you came in for like the last minute of my show, dude. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I'm just playing. Hey, thanks for coming on. Tony doesn't think college football is, he thinks college football is in huge danger of not playing. And with all these positive tests, you know, you had 30 athletes from LSU get tested. You had 20 2 football players from Clemson test positive. So you do have a good point there, Tony. Hopefully, guys, it will be played on time, and hopefully there will be fans in the stands. But hey, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I will drop the edited version of this later on. Let's get this out. Let's like it. Let's share it. Let's get another 1,400 views this week, guys. Thank you all so much for coming and kicking it with me tonight. I am out. Let's go.